For those who think we've coddled the next generation so much so that they're unprepared to face the real world, for those who are concerned that China is genetically modifying super soldiers while our military is accommodating gender reassignments, for those who are worried that everyone has lost their minds and there's no sanity left, we have good news. The voice of reason, Dr. Everett Piper, is continuing to share wisdom and insight, and his voice and platform are expanding. Not only is he a weekly columnist with the Washington Times, but he's also debuting a powerful new book designed to knock some sense back into America. Dr. Piper is also a great friend and a frequent guest in the Economic War Room. Welcome back, Dr. Piper.
Kevin, I'm delighted and honored. Thanks for having me back on. I miss you.
Well, we love seeing you, and we're glad to have you here, especially in these troubling times. I mean, as you look around the world, let's start with the bad. We do the bad, the good, and the beautiful. Let's start with the bad. What is it that you're seeing around the world that troubles you?
Well, your intro summarizes it quite well. If we think our enemies are not watching us, I've got a bridge to sell you in the desert. Of course, China is watching the way we're responding to the COVID crisis. Of course, Iran and North Korea are watching. Of course, Vladimir Putin and Russia are watching us. When you can bring an entire nation, an entire culture, the entire Western world, so to speak, to its knees by just telling them that they might get sick, then that tells you that we're not a culture of adults, we're a culture of children. That we would rather be comfortable than confronted. We would rather be safe than free. It's almost like we've taken the words of Patrick Henry, give me liberty or give me death, and turned it on its ear. And now we're saying, I fear death, so take my liberty. Our enemies are watching us, and it's delusional to think otherwise. So that would be my first point in response to your question, where I'm just kind of affirming what you said in terms of China and whatnot.
Well, let's talk about that just for a second. Right? Let's think. What if we got into a war these days, a war with China or any of our adversaries' enemies? I mean, this generation, I'm concerned. This is my nightmare. I wake up screaming, thinking, are they going to get into a fight? And in the middle of the fight, wait. I didn't do that the way I wanted. Can we do over? Can we do a do-over in this battle? I mean, that's the kind of thing I fear that the coming generation is prepped for.
Well, look at the way we behave. The best predictor of future behavior is always past behavior. So how have we been behaving? The cancel culture, the culture that wants to be affirmed rather than challenged, the culture that I confronted in my first book, Not a Daycare, is a culture that is driven by feelings rather than facts. They want a degree in opinions rather than to be graded on whether or not they've acquired any level of truth in their relative majors and disciplines while they're in college. It's a generation of people that is fixated on trigger warnings, microaggressions, safe spaces. They want teddy bears and coloring books and videos of frolicking puppies in their counseling centers at Berkeley and Brown. This is all true. This isn't hyperbole. As you know, I'm not making this up. So when we teach one generation after another to be this self-absorbed and narcissistic, we shouldn't be surprised to find a bunch of self-absorbed narcissists in our culture. When we teach them to act like children where they demand to be safe rather than to be challenged, when they feel like, the helicopter parenting has taught them that mommy and daddy will swoop in and protect them from anything that makes them feel uncomfortable. So if we went to war, do you really think this generation of citizens would be prepared to sacrifice their safety, to sacrifice their comfort, to sacrifice even their health for the defense of liberty? The answer is no, because we're not even doing it right now. We've given all of those things up for the sake of just being safe and hunkering down in our own little cubicles called our homes because the government told us we were supposed to.